got my son living with me at the moment, full time. My other two boys, they're with the mom. I don't even know where they are at the moment. It's a bit upsetting and worrying. You know what I mean? I don't want to let my other people know that I'm down. So give me a sec, I know you'll stop the thing.
Me and the mum aren't together at the minute, no matter what went wrong in the relationship. It's about this beautiful little girl, what we've got to bring up, and we've got a lot of time ahead to go, so we need to sort it out now before it gets too late.
I don't remember parents playing as much as with us as I do with myself playing with my kids or whatever it is. Now you see our living room and it's just full of toys and all this, and I'll just keep thinking back. I'm pretty sure my parents would have gone mad if they had even one toy left downstairs. It's like, no, back in your room.
I'm just trying to break the generational curses that we suffered from. Detachment, lack of love. Well, there's tough love and then there's love. And that's all I want to give to my daughter, is just pure and unconditional love.
Family is very important to me. It's my little secret gem to give me my little extra energy. I go and look for my nieces and nephews, I go and look for my son, and literally just picks me right back up.
I love to, see the happiness and the joys on their face when they wake up every morning, and it's just so innocent, just want to play. We love teaching them where you can cook, clean, iron your clothes, wash your clothes, and survive, really.
Becoming a dad has changed my perspective on life. I've got something to live for now, a purpose.
I'd just say don't put too much pressure on yourself. Obviously, you are going to make mistakes. Try not to put yourself down too much. If you do something wrong, then you learn from that.
You need to learn how to find a moment to breathe, try and find some support, friends, family, learn how to get your feelings out and talk.
I say we only get one dance on earth, so it's about how can you leave that legacy and impact with your children for them to carry on that dance for themselves and for their children, hopefully. And then that way, it's one way of making society a better place.
Whew, don't know about you, but I'm a bit moved by that. Really am. I'd like to invite everybody onto the stage today. Well, not everyone, there's only 4 chairs. You guys remain seated. Yeah. Please come along. Now then, just to check, we've got one mic between us all. Is that right, sound man? Oh, there's another one here, is there? All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this mic to you for you to discuss your story. I'm going to go grab another one, and I'll ask you some questions in a bit for you to pass it along. Is that all good? Yeah. Okay, there you go, dude.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. How are we all doing? Okay, just good. Just before I tell my story, what I'd like you to all do is stand up for me, please. Because being at a conference all day, we're sitting down most of the time, we're just going to loosen up, take a few deep breaths, release some good energy. This is part of my profession. Sorry, this was not included, but it's the spontaneousness in me. What I'd like to do is look to your right and then look to your left. And we're going to do this a few times. Keep going. That's it. Breathing in, breathing out. That's it. 5 more. Count down with me. 5. What's next? Louder. Yes. Yes. Good. March on the spot. Roll the shoulders back. Nice and big. Breathe in, breathe out. Look to the person next to you. Left and right. Smile. Just say, yeah, this feels good. This feels good. That's it. Yes. Good. Lots of smiles. Now forward. Here we go. Let's count down together. 10. What's next? 9. Next. 8. Louder. Come on. Yes. Yes. Come on at the back. Yes. Good. Now just stretch those arms nice and big. Breathing in, breathing out. I know you wasn't expecting this, but just be very careful. The person next to you. That's it. 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Turn to the person next to you. If that was good, say, yeah, that was good. Okay, now you may take a seat. Sorry, I can't help it. That's just my profession. Some of you will know I'm a mobile fitness trainer. I'm not trying to plug myself whatsoever. It's just like what I like to do. Just watching our stories, powerful. It really does touch home. And to be honest, I didn't know it was going to be on this big scale. I literally was walking by with the missus. I said, oh, imagine if it was in there. Because I thought it was just going to be in a small room, share our stories to a few people. But it's nice to see that you've all turned out today to, hear our stories and, and our perspective as well, what it's like to being a dad and a father. So I'm a father of two. I've got two boys. Shay is 6 and Shiloh is 2. As you've seen in the story, like it's such a beautiful blessing to be a father, because there's many people out there that don't get the opportunity to be a father. So for me, I don't take that for granted. Like, so the moment like we find out we was having a child together, it was just like, wow, I want to make sure that I can, like I said in my story, I can prepare my children for the future. And also as well, like what Elliot touched upon as well, like ensuring that our children have a better maybe upbringing or future than what we went through. Because back in the day, it was different for our parents, for whatever circumstances. I think we're very similar. I grew up with Andre and Elliot, and our parents know one another. So it was that tough love. And for me, I want to change that. I want to be able to tell my boys, you know what, I love you every day. Because I don't remember my dad telling me that until later on in life, and also my mum as well. It's not that they didn't love me, they just showed love in different ways, I had a roof over my head, food on the table, they ensured we had school uniform, so I'm grateful for that. But I just wanted to verbally express it and just, look into the eyes, and it's okay, it's coming from a man to tell your children how much you love them. I was grateful for Cara giving me the opportunity to share my story, and like I said, like it's such a blessing to have my boys, have children, and just prepare them for the future, and also talk about our stories. And I'm grateful for SSBC, because before I knew about SSBC, I used to just, with my youngest one, we used to just go on walks all over. I was trying to find something to do, because it was important for me to be around my children, my youngest, more often. As I explained, sorry, I'm sounding like I'm waffling on. I'm trying to fit so much in. But what happened was, before my first son was born, I was working every hours under the sun, literally from morning 6:30 till 10:15 at night, because I wanted to ensure that I could provide for my family. And it was a challenge because my wife was working in London, so she had to move back to Nottingham. We'd not long got married, so it was. I said to my missus that, I want to make sure that I take care of you all. I'm just gonna give you a bit of an insight what happened. Like, I basically burnt myself out, working all the hours under the sun. I was so stressed. I wasn't even looking after myself. So I'm working with clients, telling them how to look after themselves, but I wasn't even looking after myself. And as a reflection of that, I ended up in the hospital with heart problems. My wife was there, hooked up to ECG, and had irregular heartbeat. And then when I was in that room, it kind of homed in on me, like, I'm doing too much, and I'm putting so much pressure on myself. And all sorts of emotions were going through my head, like, wow, I don't want my boys to not be able to have me around, so I need to change my lifestyle. So, as I said in the VT, like, I wanted to ensure my work works around my family rather than the other way around. And I'm grateful I had the chance to kind of change things around. So, fast forward on, I'm grateful, I'm happy, I love being a dad, I love, talking with other dads, mums as well. When I go to these SSBC groups, we do cook and play. Like, I think it's such a grateful thing that you guys have, provide opportunities for us parents to go to these groups, and also just relax. I think I've waffled on and said enough.
Waffles are one of my favourite desserts, so you continue on, my friend.
I do with like
All
peanut
is well.
butter, with peanut butter and ice cream.
Yes,
yeah,
please. Love
yeah,
that.
yeah. But yeah, if you guys got any question, obviously just when it's that time, just feel free to ask. So thank you for listening to my story.
Thanks, Seb.
And I'll pass you on. Thank you.
Okay, set the bar, so I have to stand up. Yes, so my name's Emmanuel. I didn't actually know I was going to be speaking when I came here today, but I've been asked to come up and speak because I was there at the inception of the idea of this video and supposed to be a part of it. But I actually took myself away for a while because I hadn't seen my children for a bit. And I was feeling kind of low. I kind of isolated myself, which isn't the best thing to do, but that's what I was doing. I'm so glad to see it come together, and it's so well done. So myself, I've kind of done all aspects of fatherhood. I've been a single father, co-parent, godfather, surrogate father, stepfather, grandfather. So I've got experience in fatherhood. And when I was younger, about 5 years old, I remember my father, he took me to school one day, and then I didn't see him again for years. And what that did is it kind of left a father-shaped hole in my heart. And by the time I did see him again, I was very angry with him because I was waiting for him to come back, and he didn't come back for a long time. I only have like a few memories of him when I was young. One particular one, because my father was a truck driver. And I remember him pulling me up in this big cab, and he sat me on his knee. And he started to drive, and he encouraged me to hold the wheel. And then he let go. I said, look, you're driving. So me, this like 5-year-old, thought that I was driving this truck. And I was thinking about that because the significance of that, I was never a confident child. But as soon as I got of age, actually at the age of 16, my friend had a car that he got through some dodgy means. It wasn't stolen, but it was still dodgy. And he just says, do you want to try and drive it? And I jumped in this car, and after a few stalls, because I didn't know about handbrakes, I literally drove the car round the block, never had a lesson. And I realized later that that confidence came from that experience. And it was just like a literal, like maybe 20-second experience, but it gave me that much confidence years later. And that's the kind of power that a parent can have on their child, you know. So reflecting on that, I see how important it is. So like I said, I had a father-shaped, hole in my heart. And because of that, I was trying to be every father to everyone, greatest uncle, to my nephews and nieces. My first relationships just happened to be with single mothers, and I would take on responsibility as stepdad. And years later, I reflected and realized I'm trying to correct something. So when I came across organizations like Shifting Your Mindset and became part of it in its early days, and Think Dads, and this kind of thing that's going on, this is where my heart is at, because I know it's very, very important. My eldest daughter is actually a stepdaughter, but she officially, the first time I was called dad was by her. Amazing 3-year-old, she's now 30, but this amazing 3-year-old at the time came to me one day and she said, "What should I call you?" And I said, what do you want to call me? He said, I want to call you Dad. I was like, wow. From that day, she called me Dad. And, what's that song? Miss Jackson.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Yeah, 90s classic Miss Jackson. I was there at the first day of her school. I was there at graduation. And I was there on her wedding day, which was just the proudest day of my life. Like I forgot about her for a minute. I was just like, since then I've got 5 biological children for 2 women, years apart. My youngest 2 children I haven't seen for a while now. I'm gonna see them soon, hopefully. We'll see how that goes. And my brother, he became a statistic, because I've studied this subject a little bit, and there are statistics about people that are raised in single-parent families, more likely to, be susceptible to mental health issues, drug abuse, crime, and all of these things. And my elder brother was part of that statistic, and when he was 23 and I was 18, unfortunately, he lost his life, combination between drugs and mental health. So at the time, he had a 8-month-old daughter who I then became her surrogate father. So she's now grown, she's doing well, and she has 2 sons, so now I'm a surrogate grandfather. So I'm not a biological grandfather yet, but I am a surrogate grandfather. So I take this role seriously, but it's not easy, and a lot of things that have been said, from being ignored by midwives right through to just people not understanding that we have feelings too. When I hear people actually speak it out, oh, it's getting dry now. When I hear people speak it out, it brings warmth to my heart, just to know that yes, people do understand. So things like this are very, very important. So I thank you for allowing me to speak, and I thank you for this conference. Think Dads, you're doing an amazing thing. Thank you very much. So I'll pass the mic now. Thank you.
Well said. Yes. I'm a sitter. I've got a bad leg, so we've got 2 standers and a sitter. I thought Elliot would have had his skates on, but you might go and get them, so you we'll see. But yeah, well said, you two. A little bit about my story. It's a bit touching every time I watch it. It always just brings one tear to my eye. I had a lot of family members, friends ringing me up, obviously not aware of my inner feelings, because in my community where I am, like the boss man next to me, I look after my family, I look after my friends, my next door neighbors. I've got nieces, nephews. So I'm like, is it like a surrogate father to like my whole area? So literally, like, if I go into the park, it's like crazy. I'm setting up board games, I'm splitting up fights, I'm making them clean up the park with litter pickers. Like, I'm doing a lot. But so yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I never grew up with my father, with any interaction. Mine was a lot different because he had 2 other siblings with me, with my mum, I mean. So he used to come and look for them, but he never came and checked for me. So it was a bit like, I think I had like a lot of trauma going through life, obviously seeing him come and collect my other siblings and stuff. So me growing up, always seeing my dad picking up my other siblings, that just made me want to just give back to other people that haven't got a dad, if that makes sense. Something like what you were saying. So that, like, the person who I am now is like, literally, I know the worth of having a male in a kid's role from the start, which one of the speakers was saying earlier, which I I've studied myself. I've not been to college or university, but what these people, these scientists and people are saying, that what they study is facts. I know this because I've done it. I do it all the time. That's how I've got to be with shifting the mindset. That's how I've got to know Seb and Elliot, and you can see by how my kids and my family and my daughters are here today. It's all facts. So on the story, I was talking about I've not seen my 2 boys for a year. I've had an abusive relationship where it was the mother that was the abusive one. She was the one that was making the problems. Didn't have any support from anyone. No one. She didn't have anyone reaching out to her to home in to what her problem is, what her issue is. We've literally gone through a 7-year court case, which I would have had to fund all of that off of her issues. And the last issue that she did, she came to my house while we've got a court order in place, and she's took the kids out of my care. And she went to Women's Aid, who was very helpful for her, but they didn't check up on her background. They didn't check the court order or anything to support me or my kids. And they allowed her to move out of Nottingham. So that's why, another reason why I've never got to see him for a whole entire year. And that wasn't the first time it's happened. This is like the 3rd time. She's made a break of me not seeing my kids. But a bit of good news, I managed to see my kids just yesterday. Yes, I did. So I managed to see them. A lot of emotions, a lot of hard work. The court order came through. You know, I won the battle. It's out there. It's known that I am a good dad. I say what I am. I don't need to, try and prove to any of these organizations now that, if that woman came to them and said, Andre, nothing now, it's known that, I love my kids, the Think Dads thing it's a real thing. It's a, it's a real issue that we all need to address, and if we do think more dads, I think a lot of situations that these kids and society is coming up with nowadays will just be finished. It will just stop. It will cease to exist. It goes deeper, and I'm hoping we all work together to break that cycle. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Elliot. I'm one of the dads out of Shifting Your Mindset, dads group. And basically, it's been a long journey. I'm 40 years old. I'm from Nottingham originally. I haven't lived the best life like my parents would have probably wanted me to, but due to circumstances, I took the wrong path. And I went along my life doing this and that. Just recently, only when I was 30, I tried to change my life around, moved to London. During the time that I was trying to change my life around, and ended up getting stabbed twice, left for dead. And during this recovery, then I ended up taking to drugs and alcohol, suppressing my emotions and my feelings, and not basically living the life how I wanted to. But most of my friends, they had that experience where they had kids from early, so they had that reason to change. They had to change something to change for, someone to change for. I never had that. I had that later on in life, and I've only just managed to be able to be with my daughter. She's 2 years old. Her name's Marley Cinderella. She's the most beautiful baby in the whole entire world. And I love spending every day with her. Watching her being born was the most special thing to me, like having that experience, watching her come out, and then being able to be a dad and a parent to her up until just recently, where I've not been able to see her at the minute.
and it's hard, and I understand where everyone comes from, and we're all trying to do the best that we can for our children, and I just want to thank Small Steps and Big Changes for giving us this opportunity, shifting your mindset, for supporting us, and you guys as well, because you lot have been a rock. Like literally, we don't have many people to talk to, and you lot have been there for me when I've needed, you know, and you're just there at the end of the call, and you helped me and supported me, and I appreciate it. And thank everyone for today. Thank you all. Thank you.
Whew. Wow. Elliot, man, I'm sorry you're going through that, man. It's not easy. And to some degree, many dads experience the sort of alienation and grey rocking and stonewalling, putting a barrier between you and the life you created. And there isn't much support for that, really. Past putting a cape on and standing on a roof, you don't really see anything about that on the news. And we are talking a lot about, as a dad, looking at your own issues and reviewing those and looking back at what traumas you had and what father-shaped hole that you're trying to fill in your life. And I think part of that as well is doing the same for mums too, because mums have been through trauma, which is the reason why they're getting through this as well. I don't know what the research is on bringing those two factors together, especially when the parents aren't together. We got mediators for that. I'm going through that myself at the moment, which is just wild. I don't know if there are any mediators in the room, or is there any mediation services that you guys access? It's a thing where there should be a central focal point that is balanced and fair. However, there is a legal factor of it, which means you're not actually heard. I can only speak from my perspective that it feels like as the dad you're not heard, but I'm sure mums feel that too. But there must be some way in which that everybody gets to feel heard and actually understands why you are where you are, because we didn't just appear at the 4th of October 2023. You know, there was like 36,500 days before that for me at least. So I think it's really, really important. Another thing that I want to just really touch on is the strength in all four of you and how beautiful it is to sit here as 5 black fathers. We may be known as absent, we may be known as not involved, we may be known as disinterested, and actually it's quite the opposite. We're vastly interested. We want to be part of our children's lives. We want our children to look at us and have no father-shaped hole, but just a bigger heart for having our love within there, you know? I'm also waffling, it's my favourite dessert. But
I just want to touch up a bit on Elliot. Like, obviously, the emotions hit him. He's going through the emotions right now. But I still respect you to come up in there and obviously show it. And obviously, that's another like a big respect and love I've got to give you for that. But I want to just talk about what he does for the community, just being some light onto him. So what he does, he offers free skates and hire for kids in all communities in Nottingham. So he's actively accumulated like a big amount of skates, and then he'll just go to like a skate park area and just put it out on the social media, and anyone's kids or anybody that wants to skate can just come and just skate, and it's got big, and it's known, it's Skate for Change, right? So like I said earlier, like he's always on his skates. If you see him around in the area, he normally pushing his boogie on the skates. He does everything on the skate. Yeah. See, look, the real Elliot. I really feel like he needs to go back up and talk again, because he's very, very interesting. Like a lot of the people up here. I even grew up knowing the boss man when I was younger. So I used to always see him with his kids. Did your son used to have big curly hair at one point?
A big, massive afro.
Afro. So, like I'm saying, I've got it focused in my head. I used to see him, bags packed and journeys, and so I know what you're saying is factual as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back to Elliot, I just want to give you your dues. You know what I mean? Part of the community and looking after other people's kids, and like I know people look at Elliot and say like he's not his dad, but that's their father figure. You know what I mean? So he does it to many people, just like what the speakers were saying earlier. This is another active person. I'm an active person. He's clearly an active person, and also Seb and yourself. But this guy is another guy that's just like, you're active for the kids.
And we created Skate for Change to engage with the community through skating. During lockdown, there was a lot of people obviously nowhere to go. There was trapped in the houses. So we basically just started on South Glades Leisure Centre, got a few donated pairs of skates on a Friday night, and then we just made people come. And then we've been going for 3 years now. We've been worked with Bestwood Partnership. We've done Shifting Your Mindset. We've done the Dads Group sessions. We've worked with Nottingham Ice Stadium, Henry Mellish Sports Hall we've worked with. So we worked, and we also worked at Boys Club as well. So we've got loads of half-term clubs as well. So if any of you kids want to get involved, just look up Skate for Change and come and get rolling with us. Thank you.
Do you know what? I would just like to give a hand to Mutsa as well, because we're 4 dads here, but we've been brought together by what she does as a great mother. You know, she's holding it down for fathers. She kind of helped and created this organization that actually got us awake and aware and connected. So, hands out to you, Mutsa.
Okay, so it is literally like being in an ocean of inspiration sitting with you guys. It seriously is. And I wonder if it's touched anybody in the room today, or anybody's got any questions for us as dads, because some of us are your service users and we're right here to ask. You can do a qualitative study in a tiny in a tiny area if anybody's got any questions. Go ahead.
I was wondering if at all you'd be able to do a group talk session to like the specialist public health practice services, because we do a lot of antenatals, birth contacts, support for fathers, for mothers, children and family. And I know I can speak for myself and my close colleague that actually we do include fathers in the visits. We do have things called the Dad's Pad, that it can help them through, even whether that's through to safe sleep or to bathing your baby, your first baby. I think it'd be really interested if you could be invited and do a talk so that we can all have a good understanding how it really feels to listen to it from true fathers.
My prevailing answer to all these questions is going to be yes. So I'm going to let everyone else talk.
Hello. Yeah, I'm definitely open to that opportunity. The more we can get this out there, not just in Nottingham, but across the board, the UK, the greater it can be. So yeah, I'm just at the end, we'll exchange details.
No, that would be great. And I'm also
there.
really interested in the fact that one of you went to the mums went to Women's Aid, and people forgot about supporting the father and where was the support for him, and automatically she must have been believed. And we are all taught to ask that question, that routine question. But then when do we ever ask the dads that? And thank you for sharing your experiences.
You're welcome.
We are active for like going out and doing talks. If you want to contact Mutsa at Shifting the Mindset, you know what I mean? There's a group of us, there's a load of us. We've got young, old, new, and we've all got our own experiences and ready to, talk about think dads and push that and shift the mindset of the organisations that are meant to be supporting us equally as a family. And that's one thing about shifting the mindset is that we don't just go in a room and just promote fathers, we promote families. So if a father did come in and he's there slagging down his other half and his partner, we would be the men that like saying, no, that's not right, mate. You need to fix up, we need to try and make something work. So we're not a one-sided group. We like to make it 50-50. And the only reason it is a dad's group because we've acknowledged and we've experienced that when we're going to these service providers and when we're going into courts, that we don't get no look at, we don't get no say. So now we have to come together as dads and say, no, we are dads and we have got equal rights. We don't need to be saying that, you know what I mean? But we need to be shouting it that we need to have equal rights. So when I seen the Think Dads thing, I was on board just for the name. But one of my topics that I'm solely like focused on with shifting the mindset is talking to the courts. I want to speak to a judge, a family court judge. I want to ask him, like, does he know and is he aware of how many women are coming through his courts and that are breaching the court order and they're not getting no repercussion? You know what I mean? So I just want to know if he's aware of that and try and get some statistics. I don't know if anyone's done any studies on that, but like we can probably go outside and ask 10, 20 men right now and they'll all say, don't go through the courts because no matter what, they're not going to believe you. So I'm saying that I've got this on paperwork saying that this woman is very violent and aggressive, but I still don't feel any confident that I can see my kids. I don't feel anything. It is an achievement, but I still got so many different barriers from organizations that I have to overcome. I've just got it on paperwork that it's a fact, but I still have to prove and go over barriers. I did see my kids yesterday, but what I did not add is that I had to pay £130 towards the cost from her demands. And again, it's just, violations after violations. So hoping from this Think Dads campaign that I'll get more access towards a judge. And I want to ask him some of the hard questions and just want to know if he's aware that there's a majority of men and fathers out here that do not believe that the court system and a lot of other organizations are not in the interest of fathers. So does the judges know about Think Dads as well? So that's something for Cara I wanted to ask. And some of the speakers, do you know if judges are aware that fathers aren't just as important? Because obviously they've got their statistics of what they need to do and their roles, but do they know the facts and the education behind it?
It's an area, I don't know if this is on, yeah. I just wanted to say several things but let's talk about the courts first of all. It's an area that we are fighting to get access to actually going in to talk to judges and present to them the facts we now know. It's really hard. If anybody knows of anyone who would get us through the door, because at the moment they are very reluctant to allow us to go and do that because it means a whole sea change and you know what people are like, cultural change. But yes, I think it's really valuable, particularly in the case of paternal alienation, that we get the courts to understand that fathers are needed. And we have the absolute cast iron scientific evidence. So if anyone knows how we can do that, that would be amazing because we've been hitting our heads against the wall for quite a long time.
Do you know what? Interestingly, you say that. I joined a choir not so long ago, and we did a performance for the Chief Justices of Nottingham.
Ooh.
So basically, there was 80 judges. So I do have access to that. So
okay. Well, if we could,
yeah.
If we could actually get in front of them and lay down some objective empirical evidence, I think it would hopefully start a conversation at least.
I have an email in my phone. Let's get the ball rolling.
The other thing, just a couple of other comments. Talking about domestic abuse and male victims of domestic abuse, have you heard of Mankind Initiative? Yeah, they are really good. I've worked with them looking at fathers who've been in abusive relationships. They are supporters of male survivors and victims of male domestic abuse. So if you they are very good to get in touch with, and they will support you in the courts. And the final thing I wanted to say was it was just wonderful, because as I said in my talk, we think a lot about dads in a very narrow way in this country. It's wonderful to see 4 guys who are fathering so many kids in so many different ways, within your communities, within your families, your own kids, step-kids, whatever. And that is what fathering's about. Fathering is about stepping up and doing the job, and it's just been wonderful to hear. Thank you.
5 guys. All 5 of them are fathers, so 5, not 4. Yeah,
Sorry. I'm so proud of you, every one of you. I'm so proud. But my question is, there is a dad that has walked the same path as you. They're feeling alone, or maybe they don't feel like talking. What would you say to them to start to speak up? Because obviously now it started with you guys, but we know it wasn't easy. What do we do going forward to be able to think dads in a more proactive, holistic way, and think dads to think about coming to be around dads like you?
Okay, thank you. I don't know if we all want to answer that each, or I don't know. So you're asking, what would we say to a new dad, someone who's going through it, is kind of not feeling great? Yeah, wow. I mean, the first thing I would say is, do not isolate yourself. Reach out, talk to somebody. As many people as you can, as you feel comfortable with. Just one trusted person, if it's just one trusted person. Contact shifting your mindset. Come to the dads group on Tuesday evenings at 6 o'clock at the Vine. I would also say, think of the child. Always think of your child. I will say, for me personally, there's many times when I have contemplated ending myself. And when I think about the effect that it would have on my children, that's the thing that brings me back from the edge. I don't want to create more trauma. There's enough trauma that's happened. I'll do everything I can. I'll survive it and make sure my children don't have to go through it. So think of your children. And I would also say, because we do all go through a lot of stuff in relationships and relationship breakups, and sometimes it gets messy and there's accusations and your heart can get dark and you can feel very angry towards your ex-partner. But forgiveness is so, so important as part of your development. It's worth it, it's hard, but go through it, because at the end of the day, what do you want? Do you want continuous conflict, or do you want a solution? So it's eating those hard cookies, it's doing the hard stuff, but at the end of the day, you think of the end result. That's the thing that keeps you going, and even go further than that, think about your children's children, your legacy, So it's worth, when you think of the longer term, what you're going through right now, it's worth going through. Just hold on, that's what I'd say.
Also, like I've heard one of the speakers say, it's all about trust. So whatever male it is, just find someone that you trust and you feel that you can talk to, and just let it out to them, because holding it in and keeping it pent up, it's not going to help. You're not going to save yourself by doing that, but by talking about it, at least you get it out and you can get another opinion on the situation. And it's better to have it out in the open than just kept it all pent in and stuffed up.
So to add to your question, I would say this is the birth of something new for fathers, dads, and those about to embark on that journey. So we can be like the mentors for those who want to have that safe space, and safe space so they can have that conversation. or if you know anyone who's going to become a parent, just ask them, what's it like? How you feeling? What's your emotions like? And then that way you can find out, whether it's a good situation or not. So I'm happy to be a mentor. I think putting this out there, putting this on our outlets, saying, look, we've got 4 dads here. Happy to speak to any other dads who are going through maybe challenging times. Even dads that are going through great times, let's get them on board. Let's hear their stories as well from all different cultures, because everyone can relate to different people differently. So I think that would be a great start.
100%. Yeah, please go ahead.
You know what? Yeah, thank you for that, Seb, because I would like to say, there are great times. We are talking about some of the more negative times, but some of the best times of my life is just being messing about with my children and, just doing stuff. So we have great times, great memories. It's not all bad. So, yeah, think about the good as well.
Thank you. Seeing as we are talking about great times, when I got my sons yesterday and I got all my kids together, just something I wanted to add that obviously I'd never seen them for a year, not spoken to them or seen them or anything, but when they came back into my surrounding of my family, it's like they never left. They knew exactly the last conversation we had. He knew how much money was left in his bag, which was weird. I just didn't know how he figured that out. He's like, can you remember when you said you was going to get me that present? Didn't you get it? I said, yeah, it's in the cupboard. You know what I mean? So like he was just continuing, it's like they never left, but they did leave because everyone's looking at them because they look totally different. But the amount of time and effort and attention and love I put into them, it's just stuck with them for that whole year. You know what I mean? So that made me know that regardless, that my bond was so strong that I've put the work in with them and I've educated them and I've learnt them. I've took him motorbike riding. I've done some of the maddest things with my kids. You know what I mean? If anyone knows me, I'm always active with my kids. But yeah, my 2-year-old at the moment, we're actually learning how to do slow motion fighting. So so that's just our new project. So yeah, we just do everything in slow motion. So we've done the rough tumble already at that very young age, but he's past that now. And I like to also add, with my children, when they're out with other people's children, I feel like they're getting the benefits from being with my children, if that makes sense. Because my children are so diverse of so many different activities, motorbike riding. My 3-year-old's got an electric go-kart that drifts, so he does parallel parking. He's taking other people's kids to the park. You know what I mean? So these are young age kids, but they're doing multiple stuff. You know what I mean? So I feel like me educating my kids and spending a lot more time with my kids, that they're gonna pass it on, and it's gonna be a ripple effect, and there's gonna be a lot more me's out there. You know what I mean? Pass on my love. So
can we get a round of applause for that, please? Okay. So this past hour has gone in a speed I can't even imagine. I want to thank all 4 of you for sharing your journeys, and it's so beautiful to hear a father's love for the children, the importance of it from their mouth. And we have to wrap up the day, I'm afraid. And I know it's hella inspiring. It really is, and I hope you take something away in your hearts with this. So I am now going to hand over. I'd like to thank again each one of you for your stories and sharing your souls with us, as we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Can we have another round of applause? Thank you. Yeah, get a quick shot in. Oh, my lad in? Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to turn my mic on. That's what we're going to do. We're going to move to closing statements now. I have really enjoyed being with you all today, and hope you've had a good and fruitful day. And thank you very much for your time and your attention. And I'm going to hand you over. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex. Well, I don't quite know really what else I can say, actually, because I think the four of you, including Alex, actually the five of you, have been just finished that so impeccably for us. So you've been inspirational, you've been personal, you've been very open and honest. You've shared the challenges, the positives, the negatives. And I think it's just brought it to life for all of us, the importance of why in Nottingham we're talking about Think Dads and why it is relevant right now, and it has been for a while. But you're quite right, I feel like we've created a movement here, and especially through our work with Shifting Your Mindset, which we're immensely proud of, the work that Mutsa does, and with all the fathers that she's working with, but also some of our other projects as well. So I just want to thank all of you again for doing what you've done and for being part of our campaign, and we hope that we can reach out and get the word out to more fathers like we were talking there. The point of today really was to highlight why Think Dad was important to professionals and to workforce and people who work with children and young people and families. And I hope that today has helped to do that. I know many of you are already positive allies and advocates in the room for being more father inclusive. You're pushing some of those boundaries. You're thinking about some of those small changes that you can make. Just acknowledging Dad, asking how he is, including him in the conversations, thinking about how you might phrase your letters. You know, the example you gave was fabulous. So I don't think we're talking about doing anything huge just yet, although there's obviously that bigger question around policy and what more do we need to do there. But I think for those of you that have been here today, I hope you go away feeling inspired to continue that conversation, to think about the things that you can do today, tomorrow, next week, next month in practice, and the things and the conversations you might have with your middle managers and with senior managers as well. So thanks to Seb and Emmanuel and Dre and Elliot for everything that you've done today and for sharing that with us. I want to thank Alex as well for navigating us through the day and sharing your musical talents. We will, next time, get better at rapping, I promise, because we were a bit naff at that bit. And thank you to your children as well and for bringing them into the room. And I think that was a real gift as well, so thank you for that. In terms of our two speakers this morning, a huge thank you to both the Annas. So thanks to Anna Tarrant in terms of sharing that evidence. And the bit for me, the key takeaway I found was that bit around, are we doing that surveillance piece with dads? Are we sidelining them and kind of going, well, you're not important, you don't matter? Or are we genuinely supporting? And I think listening to the 4 or 5 dads on the stage, they want that support and they want to be included. And I think that work around young fathers was particularly insightful, and that's the space, that support space that we need to be in, or be in more of the time when we can be, and think about a strength-based approach, even when things are challenging, even when we're in, whether it's child protection, if that's our world, or safeguarding, we can still think about, and what is the support that we can put into Dad to help Dad be a better dad, if that's the case, and how we do that. Thanks to Anna Machin as well. I've learnt so much today. I've increased my knowledge and understanding, which I hope everybody in the room has. I think, that was your question, wasn't it? In terms of what else have you learned, Alex? Alex asked us, what have you learned? But I think that research around the role of fathers and who does that job. And you guys just illustrated that perfectly, that you don't have to be biological dad to take on that role. And I'd be interested to know just collectively how many children you are really positive role models for. And I think you'd be, I don't know if you've added that up, but I think that in itself would be possibly quite inspirational as well. I know the positive male role models I've had in my life and the difference they've made, and not all of them have been. Some of them have been family members, some of them have not. And it is really crucial. But thanks for demystifying the science, Anna. That bit around mothers are just born natural. I think some of us who are mothers would go, no, we're not, actually. I can remember my partner saying that to me. He thought I knew exactly what I was doing. He was absolutely terrified. That was not the case. I was terrified too. And that dads don't attach, and we know that that's not true, and that dads don't play a role in children's development. So I think for me, I've learned so much there. Al-Harar, I think they've had to leave. But again, I think we're all on that journey around being more culturally competent, thinking about that. How, again, do we take that strength-based approach? How do we be more curious, more inquisitive, ask questions, reflect, challenge? Don't make assumptions. And again, the guys at the end just totally sum that up around some of the assumptions that are made. They look, they see, mum, dad, not together anymore, dad must be in the wrong. So let's just start to challenge some of those and seek clarity, be humble, respectful, keep learning. So much from today, and I could feel myself getting quite emotional listening to all of you. And I think I'm going to possibly, for those of you that know that I get wheeled out at these kind of things at the beginning and the end and do my bit, and I can just start to feel that I'm getting a bit emotional generally around SSBC, because we have got quite a short time. The team are probably sick of me saying this now, but it feels like we've got a real sense of urgency. SSBC will officially come to an end in March 2025. And for those of us that are in the team, we're very much now thinking about what is our legacy, how are we going to support the fabulous work of all of those of you in the room that have been delivering services for us, working alongside us. How do we make sure that that carries on when we've gone? Because this isn't just about the money. The money's been a huge enabler, but it's about the people in this room, it's about the families that we've worked with, it's about the stories that have been shared and the lives that have been changed, and that cannot stop, and it must carry on. And I will do my bit, trying to champion the work with influencers, with commissioners, with those that can have decision-making powers, but I also need support from everybody else, boots on the ground. You need to keep championing that work as well, whether it's in speech and language, I'm just looking over here, whether it's in father-inclusive practice, whether it's about how we co-produce, whether it's in infant mental health. There's a whole range of work that we've been privileged to be part of. And I know that we want to keep that going. And this agenda in particular is massive to SSBC. It's been a hugely important part of our system change, as I said. So we're going to keep working on that for the next plus year and doing more with Shifting Your Mindset and other organisations. In terms of our next steps, we have actually got a second conference around fathers, which we're aiming it at some of those decision makers and policy influencers in that sort of way as well. But please, please go to our website. The team have got pulled together, again, through a huge amount of co-production, partnership working. We've got a fabulous Dad's Pack that I know some of you are using already. It's there, it's available. It's now in 7 different languages because we've really listened and tried to be inclusive around how we support fathers to access information and advice. We've got our Think Dads training as well that's available, and I think there's some information around the back of that on the handbook from today. We've also got our father inclusive standards that we're piloting with some of our partner organisations at the minute. So again, if any of you want more information around that, please get in touch with Phyllis and the rest of the team. So there's just a huge amount of work still for us to do. We're going to carry on fighting that fight and doing it together. But I just want to thank you all today, and I hope you do leave feeling quite inspired and determined to keep doing that work together. So thanks to everybody that's been involved today. Thank you to everyone who's come and listened, and to keep being those positive advocates in our lives as well. So thank you, everybody. Safe journey. Oh, Cara and Hayley will be telling me off. There is an evaluation. Remember, there's a prize as well. So for those of you that have done your evaluation, please get that in. Helps us when we're planning our events. So please make sure you do your evaluation before you shoot off, because I know that there's the books are available for those that complete it. Thanks, everybody.